Welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast, where each episode is a new journey into the heart of what drives our communities, small businesses. This is your host SK, and today we are venturing into the dynamic world of angel investing, a crucial catalyst for nurturing innovative startups and propelling economic growth. As small businesses form the backbone of our economy, understanding the role of angel investing in their development is vital. We are set to explore how these investments fuel growth, empowering entrepreneurship, and bringing transformative ideas to life. By delving into who can be an angel investor and their significant role in fostering innovation, we aim to shed light on this vital aspect of the business world. We are honored to have Kate Tomen with us today as the Vice President of Business Development and Operations at Angel Investors Ontario. Kate plays a crucial role in shaping the future of angel investing in the province. Her remarkable contributions include launching AIO's e-learning platform, publishing a comprehensive magazine, and developing programs for founders and angels. With a rich academic background from Queen's University and experience in program development at the University of Windsor, Kate brings a wealth of knowledge to today's discussion. Join us as we delve into the insights and experiences of a leading figure in Ontario's angel investing landscape. Good morning and welcome to the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast. Kate, how are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. It's an honor to have someone with your expertise and dedication to angel investing on our show. Your journey through the world of innovative startups and investor education is truly inspiring. Kate, before we jump into the conversation, can we talk about a little bit of Angel Investors Ontario? Yeah, I was going through the website and, I was doing some research about Angel Investors Ontario, your organization is supporting almost 16 nonprofit angel groups and also with working with 15 investment clubs across the province. I truly appreciate the efforts put in by your organization. And over the past decade, through the groups and clubs that it mobilizes and supports, Angel Investors Ontario has enabled over $700 million to be invested into 800 high potentially early stage ventures. That's a huge number.
Mhm.
And I was surprised with the number of jobs created through these partnerships. It was around 15,000. Congratulations on such big achievement and the impact it had on our economy. Kate, you have been with Angel Investors Ontario for more than 6 years now, right? Can you shed some light on what Angel Investor Ontario does in simple terms with our audience?
So Angel Investors Ontario is an umbrella organization for angel groups across the province of Ontario. So right now there's about 17 angel groups who are all investing into early stage technology companies. So we help help facilitate that investment of capital into these companies. And we provide services directly to the groups that help with their operations. So, all the groups in Ontario are incorporated not-for-profits. So we help provide some services directly to them to help support their operations. And then we do also play a role in the ecosystem. We provide a little bit of education, both for founders and investors. It's obviously really focused on, angel investing 101 or how to make sure you're angel ready as a founder. So education. Supporting the group's operations. And then I would say, too, we also play a larger advocacy role for the early stage tech ecosystem. These are very early stage companies. They might have gone through an incubator and accelerator program, but they're not yet at that stage where they might receive institutional investment from, a private equity firm or a venture capital firm or other larger institutional investors. That angel investors really fill this critical gap between incubators, accelerators, and that first round of institutional funding. So we help provide the infrastructure and help to facilitate that investment from private citizens. It's all private capital. Into those early stage technology startups that are hopefully going to grow, support the Canadian economy, create lots of good, high-paying jobs for other Canadians as well.
Thank you so much for sharing the details. Angel investing plays a critical role in the startup ecosystem, providing much needed capital and mentorship. For founders, what should they know about navigating the angel investor landscape and why should they consider raising money from angels?
Yeah, so I think it's important to understand what kind of company would raise from angel investors. It's not, your mom and pop shop, not the variety store down the corner. These are companies that are Our groups, our groups do invest across pretty much every industry. We've done deals in CPG, retail, all the way to therapeutics. So it's a really wide range of industries that our groups invest in. But one thing these companies all have in common is that they are high growth technology or technology enabled companies that are going to reach, or hopefully will reach, $1 billion in valuation. They will grow globally. They are industry disruptors. So I think when you keep that in mind, what sort of company is looking for angel investment, then that really tells you what those companies should be doing, or what they should be looking for when they're raising money. Because once you bring on an investor into your business, it really does change how you do business as well. Then there's other people you have to answer to when you make decisions about why you made that decision or when you make that certain decision. So founders, we really think that an angel investment is what we call smart money. It's kind of a cheesy term, but we really think that an angel investment is not only a capital investment, but also mentorship, connection to networks, advice, a support network. Angel investment, I'd really put it on it's more of an active investment for many of our investors. It's not so much of a passive investment. So these are people that really do want to see, obviously, success in their business. It is their personal capital that they're investing in. But they also do play a role in the success of that company.
That is the most important thing, I think. They get involved in the business. They provide mentorship.
Yeah, exactly.
They guide it, right?
Exactly. And many our angels have, really varied backgrounds, education. They come from different industries. They might come from, other parts of the world as well. So they offer a lot in terms of, mentorship advice, even just connections into their network as well, which maybe could be potential clients for those
new
startups.
Partnerships.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So when they're partnering with an angel investor, they are not only getting the capital, but they are also getting a very good experience and, a wealth of experience, a wealth of network they are going to get.
We hope so.
Right.
We hope so. And that's, I think, one thing that's really attractive to founders at this early stage. That's what attracts them to angel networks is, that combination of mentorship, expertise, and also, that early stage risk capital as well.
Thanks, Kate, for sharing those insights. Could you share some success stories of startups that have benefited from angel investing?
Sure. I think there are many, many success stories, some that, have resulted in an exit. So either these companies have gone through the IPO process or they've been acquired. And then there's a lot of other companies that are working their way there. But I think the one thing I always get when people ask about angel investing, they always kind of confuse it with Dragon's Den, which when you see Dragon's Den, people know those companies, their retail products, probably it's like Scrub Daddy, right? You see it on the shelf. And an angel investment isn't always a company that you'd see on this shelf. Like these are software products that might be used in industry, medical devices, therapeutics, right? So they're not always things that you and I as a consumer would touch unless you're working in a specific industry. And we always want these big success stories of companies that have received angel funding in the past. Probably the best well-known Canadian one would be Shopify. In the very early days, had some angel investors that obviously did very well when they did go public a few years back and made a lot of people in Ottawa very wealthy.
Right.
So that's probably the best example. Other ones, people always talk about, you can find decks online for pitch decks for like the angel round of Uber, right? So there are companies that have touched, our day-to-day lives that have received angel investment.
Right.
But I find a lot of them are sort of under the surface. They're not big, flashy companies or companies that, you and I would have necessarily a connection to in our everyday lives, but they are disrupting industries, making it easier for people to do their work, modernizing, hopefully, some more traditional industries. We've done investments, again, like across almost every industry, some really interesting things, in mining and therapeutics. And again, there's been a few retail products and financial products, fintech. So probably another one people are really familiar with would be Wealthsimple, the online investing platform. Another one that people might be more familiar with is well.ca as well.
Right.
We had lots of angel investors sort of in the Toronto area who invested into well.ca very early. That's an example of how angel investment really can bolster a company's success. It really helps them grow at a much quicker rate, provides them with capital to access resources, talent, supply chains that maybe they would have never otherwise or would have taken longer to get to.
Right. As you rightly said, like Shopify provided a very good example and motivated a lot of entrepreneurs to explore this, angel investing process and making their business more successful. Kate, your insights clarify the world of angel investing and, offering valuable guidance for founders who are looking into embark on this path. Many individuals are curious about becoming angel investor, but are not sure where to start. Who is an ideal angel investor and how can one get involved in angel investing?
Yeah, so I think first off, this asset class isn't available to everyone. The OSC has set sort of a threshold of wealth to say that, yes, you have enough wealth, net worth to sustain the risk of this asset class. Because unlike, the stock market, a bond or something like this is a very risky investment. Whenever you make an angel investment, you also sign a form that says like, yes, I understand the risk. I might lose all my money. So it is not available to everyone. So there is a definition set up by the Ontario Securities Commission of an accredited investor. And so this, again, it's like, I can go very briefly through it, but you can find the definition online. So it's $200,000 in the last 2 calendar years of income before tax, or $300,000 with a spouse, or $1 million in assets, not including our primary residence. Again, this is just to protect people and just to understand that it is very risky, that a lot of these companies do go under, or they might return only your investment and nothing more. So just to understand that it's very risky. So I think the ideal angel is obviously someone who's accredited. I'd say probably founders make the best angel investors. They have been through it themselves. These are people who might have exited a company, right? They understand the process of raising money. They've been there themselves. Those probably make the best angel investors because they are sympathetic to the journey. But also people who, we have lots of professionals in the network, doctors, lawyers, CPAs, CFAs, people that can offer skills to these startups that they might need. Having a base of, doctors or PhDs that have a specific niche in some industry is really important to really draw on the skills and knowledge of that network to support companies maybe in that area. And then you have people who sort of came through it, through a friend or something. So people who have maybe worked a more traditional corporate job and are looking to add that risk level to their portfolio because it's really just part of your overall investing strategy. It's not meant to be like, don't throw 100% of your allocated money for investments into this asset class, into angel investments. It's meant to, be a portion of it and to add that risk to your overall portfolio.
Okay. In continuation to my question, why a successful founder or someone with capital consider joining an angel group?
Yeah, so I think the best way to think about angel groups is that they're really helping to curate those opportunities for you as an investor. So then a lot of that deal flow, deal scouting is taken care of for you. And then too, you have the value of a network around you of people with expertise across various industries, people who have written a check before, maybe people who are experts sort of in early stage startups as well. So I find they're really community driven. Not only sort of at that investor stage, but they often include other members of their community, right? So the groups are very community driven, not only sort of I find in the membership, but across sort of their region. They work a lot with incubators, accelerators, the network of regional innovation centers in Ontario. We work a lot with Ontario Centers of Innovation as well, which is a provincial program that helps provide funding to technology companies. So there is like a sense of community. And I think when you're just starting out angel investing, getting ready to write that first check, it's really important to be able to ask those questions about the process. How do I do this? When do I, do this? What, in sort of to learn too, what questions to ask entrepreneurs, to learn like where to ask questions and what kind of questions to ask during the process, during the due diligence process. So it really is sort of like a learn by doing. And I think what's really great about the network is that, everyone's been there before. Everyone's, had to write a first check at some point. And I find the network's really understanding and not only extending their time and expertise to founders, but also to new angels as well. So I think it helps to have that sort of built-in support system when you are going to write that first check. It also takes out a little, not all of the risk. So we'll say like angel investing is risky, but having, sort of that collective yes, or other people going into the deal as well, I think it does help to de-risk it in a sense, that you're not doing it alone. It's been vetted by multiple people, by not only sort of that angel group and, that role who manages the angel group, but also other angel groups in the province. So it does help to de-risk that way as well.
All right. What are the common challenges new angel investors face and how can they overcome them?
I think probably the biggest challenge is just being comfortable writing that first check. A typical check size is about $25,000. So that's a lot of money. And they can range, between 25 to say like $100,000. And 25 is fairly typical, but that's a lot of money. And to make that first investment into a company that this isn't a public company, this is a company that's just starting out. Maybe they're like 2 years old. Right? They might even be pre-revenue. I do quite a few pre-revenue deals. Right? So I think there's a level of like unknown that you have to be comfortable with. And just sort of alluded to earlier, I think you kind of learn by doing. And that's just, you just have to write that first check to learn how to do it, I guess. Right? And it's kind of like unfortunate or fortunate in a way. But I find like there's always someone to help you. The groups kind of are like such a great community, and they really want to bring in new members, new sources of capital for founders. And after you write that first check, you get much more sort of comfortable with it. But I think to deciding, if say you decided I'm accredited, I do want to invest in this asset class, sort of going through and creating a thesis. Who do you want to invest in? Are there specific industries you're interested in or specific industries where you think you can add a lot of value? So understanding sort of like what you're looking for in founders. Do I want to invest in a certain type of founder? Like, if I'm a woman, do I want to take my allocated angel investing money and really support women founders or immigrant founders, right? Trying to decide, like, put your own parameters on it of what you're looking for and what you're comfortable with. I guess not only with the founders themselves, but with the metrics of those businesses, the industries that they're in, sort of their current financials. Some angels are okay with pre-revenue companies. Some are less comfortable making an investment in a company that's pre-revenue. So understanding where you're comfortable first. And then really, asking questions. There is no stupid questions. Really encourage new angels to network, to talk with people, and to take extra time with that group manager, executive director, whoever, sort of the point person in that angel group to understand the process.
I believe Angel Investors Ontario also provides support if someone is interested in becoming an angel investor, right?
Yeah, of course. We have a little bit of education that is directly for angel investors. And then what we really do try to do is, insert them into the groups. We're not asking you to write your first check in your first investment meeting. We want you to feel comfortable writing that check. So whether, however long that takes you, like, we're there to help guide you, or also there to help connect you into a larger ecosystem, a larger network across Ontario. And there's many angel groups and angels across Canada as well. So to feel like you're part of a community where you can ask questions, you can figure things out, and hopefully feel like really supported in that decision to write that first check.
Thank you so much. Like Kate, everyone knows like angel investors surpass the traditional role of financiers, like acting as the key drivers in the ecosystem, nurturing startups not just with the capital but also with invaluable mentorship and guidance. Kate, could you share your insights on what makes their role indispensable in bridging gaps in the startup ecosystem?
So I'd say it's a really critical piece of that funding map for founders that are growing their business this way. It is risk capital. This is a time in sort of that business timeline where maybe they've been through a program like an incubator and accelerator program. They might have a little bit of cash from those programs as well, but they're not yet at a stage where venture capitalists are interested in. Banks probably aren't very interested. It's too risky for the banks. And so this is where angels come in to really provide capital at that risky stage. I think just the fact that, we're sort of playing in this sandbox makes them really indispensable, because without sort of that, if you take out that piece of the funding roadmap, those companies might never get to the next stage. So it really is that needed fuel to get them to the stage where they can go to larger institutional investors, they can go to VCs, they can go to strategic partners to raise much bigger rounds.
Thanks for sharing your insights on this, Kate. Like how does Angel Investors Ontario support this innovation-driven approach?
Yeah, so we really try to provide the infrastructure to help facilitate those investments into these early stage companies, provide services across the network, education, advocacy, through those things. I think we really do try to encourage is always the wrong word, and I always stumble upon it because it is a risky investment. And I don't want to say, like put your money into an angel investment instead of into like, the S&P 500. So I think there's a larger part of education we do to say this is available, and this is maybe why you want to invest in this asset class. And look, here's this network of support to help you make these investments. So I think too, like there's this whole innovation economy that really thrives on this sort of like gritty, exciting, sort of like risky investment, I guess, in a way. And so we really try to help de-risk that and encourage people to do so through the network, through education, and really just telling that story of how innovation touches, our lives, how it supports the Canadian economy, how it creates new jobs, and it creates new jobs out of, a very small amount of money. I think when you look at, how the government or whatever organization is supporting job creation, we put like billions of dollars into a battery plant. But an angel investment in a early stage company, say that company's raising, a round of $1 million, and angels are a part of that round. Well, they might be creating, any number of jobs at a much lower rate. Right. And these are often, engineering, software development. Like these are really good, high-paying jobs that then return that capital through taxes right back to the broader economy. So it's a really cheap and efficient way to create jobs. So it's just in that education, and again, encourage is the wrong word. It's that education across those people who may be accredited investors to say, hey, this is available to you. This is why you might want to get into this through, it's good for your portfolio. It's capital diversification, but also it's a way to give back to, your local community, to founders. in a way, I guess, in like a really cheesy full circle way, like in a way to give back to the broader Canadian economy as well, supporting these companies to help get them off the ground.
Right. Like your perspective highlights the significant impact angel investors have on nurturing innovation and driving economic development. Now, angel investing is not just for high-tech startups, right? Like it has a broader impact across various small business sectors. Could you elaborate on how angel investing benefits a diverse range of small businesses beyond the typical tech startup?
Yeah, so I'd say like our angel groups invest across almost every industry. So that includes sort of more traditional industries or CPG, packaged goods, retail products. I'd say not so small business. Like these are companies that really want to grow globally. That there is an expectation that these companies are going to grow beyond Canada, beyond our borders, and more broadly impact the world to reach, $1 billion valuation. Everybody always talks about unicorns when you talk about startups. And that is sort of the dream for these companies. There's lots of companies that, have started as small businesses that then, looked at, their company, what innovations they could bring in, and then have gone on to raise angel money. Right. Everything has to start small. It has to start as an idea. You have to start somewhere. I would say we do pre-revenue investments, but still, these are still full-fledged businesses. They're often very small businesses when we see them at the angel stage, say less than 10 employees. Sometimes it's even just the founders who are employees. So they're still small businesses, but there is this, hopefully they will be high growth companies. They'll support many, many jobs across Canada and maybe even across the world, depending on their business model. But I'd say small business and startup are I kind of put them in two separate worlds for now. And I think a lot of that innovation and like the drivers of productivity and innovation in this company do come from small and medium-sized businesses. That's where a lot of just the innovation is happening. And, you have to do more with less. You have to figure out how to capture a market from larger corporations. And so that's where a lot of those exciting things are coming from. And so to hopefully support those companies in their growth. And maybe those companies don't even know that this is an option for them.
Yeah.
That there are ways to expedite your growth, and through investment, through an angel investment is certainly one of those ways.
Right. And what should small business owners or entrepreneurs consider when seeking angel investment for their venture?
I think you should consider what sort of business you want to have. Is this a lifestyle business? Is this something you do want to grow, into many, many employees? You want to grow this business globally. I think too, once you take on investors, it does change your business a little bit. At some point, if you're raising money, you might even have a board of directors, which again changes, who you answer to, how you make decisions, and certainly bringing on investors, especially I think angel investors, where it is a bit more of an active investor base where they want updates, they want to help and support you in your business and your growth, that it does change how you do business, because now there are sort of these external stakeholders you have to answer to. You should consider too where you are in your business journey and what you would do with this money. Oftentimes, probably the most common use of funds that we see is probably sales, marketing, bringing on those skills for technical founders. And a lot of time it is to hire more people, or it might be to purchase inventory, right? So there is sort of a factor of speed, I guess. I know people will fight me on this, but in my mind, there's really one really broad reason why a founder would raise external investment, and that is to increase the speed at which you're doing business. It's to gain skills that, if you were to bootstrap that business, grow that business traditionally without an investment, it might take you 5 years, but you can take that 5-year growth trajectory, and really shorten that timeline with investment because you're able to access resources now with capital that you weren't able to before. So it's a very different business model, but speed and how quick you grow is probably one of the major factors why people choose to raise external money.
Okay, thanks for sharing this. While angel investing offers substantial benefits, it also comes with a set of challenges. What are some of those common challenges both investors and startups face in the angel investing process, and how can they be addressed?
Yeah. So I think there's a little bit of a matchmaking process, especially at this early stage. You want to feel like whether you're an investor or a founder, you really want to jive well with whether you're a founder. You want to be able to trust your investors. So there's always that challenge, finding people that you think will support you, that you can work well with, because too, I think people often don't understand the timelines of an angel investment too. I hate the marriage analogy. We use it a lot, but oftentimes it is sort of like a marriage. You're going to be in this relationship with this founder or investor for probably 7 to 10 years. So there's a long time horizon to exit. So to understand that, to find investors as a founder that you can work well with, that you can tolerate for the next 10 years, right, is important. I think too, as we sort of enter and get more used to the current economic climate, is finding new sources of capital for founders as well. Bringing on new investors to the ecosystem. Hopefully more people means more capital. And also more expertise for founders. And also, as we enter into this year, and I guess just the future in general, right? There's a lot of industries. Web3 AI, of course, is a big hot topic. That too, we need to bring in those expertise to the network as well to support those founders and also investors as well to understand, what does artificial intelligence mean and where can you use it in a business? Where does it actually make sense and be like part of a revenue generator? So there's those things as well. And probably another challenge for founders is that it's a very time-consuming process as well. Oftentimes, it does feel like a full-time job, another one on top of growing and building your business, to operate a fundraise process. That's another big challenge for founders is figuring out a way to efficiently run that process. You kind of have to run it like a sales process and understand who you're pitching to, what those investors are looking for. So to make sure that you as a founder are also using your time in the most efficient way. That also can be a really big challenge for founders. Maybe not so much for angels. They see lots of pitches, and angels see the bottom of the funnel pitches, where founders have to talk to many, many investors, many strategic partners to sort of find the needle in the haystack.
Right. As you rightly said, in your conversation, the relationship between an angel investor and a founder is not short term. It's a long term one, right? Now, when you are talking about the challenges faced by, both parties, how does Angel Investor Ontario assist in overcoming these challenges?
Yeah, I think it's assisting in that matchmaking process and educating both the founder and the angel about the process. I mean, we want it to be as efficient as possible, especially for the founders. We don't want you to spend, an entire year raising your round. We want you to get back to business. We want you to get back to, doing the things that, you set out to do to build your business, probably those things you enjoy much more than the fundraising process. So to provide that education and, the tools for both angels and founders to use that help smooth out that process a little bit. It's always Angel investing, I think, is hard because there is like a bit of an emotional piece to it. So there's always some bumps in the carpet that you'll never be able to smooth out completely with like tools, technology, education. Because I find angels, you really do need to feel like some emotional connection to the founder, the problem they're solving, the business they're building. It's not, like I invested in Vanguard, right? It's such like there's no emotion to it. You just sort of do it. You click on Simple, on your bank, whatever, wherever you invest, right? This is, you've gotten to know the founders, know their business, the problem they're solving. So there's a bit of emotional connection that you'll never be able to like completely sort of smooth out, but providing tools, opportunities, the right sort of networking opportunities as well for founders and investors to meet and to connect with each other.
And these opportunities and the events is being conducted by Angels Investor Ontario on regular basis?
Yeah, so we host a number of events throughout the year.
Okay.
Some of them are really directed towards the angel investor and recruiting new angel investors to the ecosystem. And then others are much broader, meant to connect both founders and angels together.
Kate, before we wrap up, from your perspective at Angel Investors Ontario, what essential advice would you give to aspiring entrepreneurs embarking on a journey, particularly in securing funding and building impactful network?
So yeah, build your network with other founders, because it is a lonely journey. So I always suggest founders like find people who are doing similar things to you or at a similar stage. It's such a lonely journey. So find people that you can sort of commiserate with and lean on. But then also know there's a broader community of, other organizations that provide similar support, whether it's an incubator or accelerator, or whether it's through an angel group. Know that there are people that really do want to see you succeed. So to start networking early, build that network where you can ask questions and you can lean on in times of need. And I think don't shy away either from, when you're facing an issue, really reach out to that network that you assumingly built, worked so hard to build, because I find people are really generous with their time and with their networks as well. And they're really willing to help at this stage. And I think, too, to understand that it is a bit of a longer process to raise money. It can sometimes be a frustrating process. And then other days you might feel it's going great and it's a really fruitful process. And we hope it's like a wonderful, fruitful process. You got lots of advice, mentorship, connection to networks, and hopefully eventually money, too. Hopefully some people are putting pen to paper and writing checks. But to just know that it can be a long process. And I think, too, to understand that now that you've taken in outside investors, that you have to answer to them, that you have to update them, make sure you work with them because they really are there to support you as well. I think, too, like find your people in a sense. Because having the right people around you and the right people around you just to like talk about the hardships of entrepreneurship, because it's really hard. Right. And we don't often say the hard parts out loud, but find people you can do that with. And sometimes that might be your investors. And that's when, you really found a really great match and a long lasting marriage, I guess.
Kate, your expertise shed lights on the complexities of angel investing, providing practical solutions for both investors and startups to navigate this landscape. Kate, it was a very big pleasure hosting you today. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences and insights. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. This was fun.
It was a pleasure hosting you. Thank you.
Thank you.
As we conclude today's enlightening session with Kate Tomen, we are left with the key takeaway. The landscape of angel investing is not just about financial transactions, but about building relationships and fostering innovation. This insight into the world of angel investing, provided by Kate, serves as a reminder that success in this field requires a blend of investment strategies and a deep understanding of the startup ecosystem. Thank you, Kate, for sharing your expertise and experiences. We are deeply grateful to our esteemed partners, our exclusive banking partner RBC, our exclusive shipping partner UPS, and our exclusive accounting software partner Xero. for their ongoing support in empowering the small business community in Canada. For those eager to delve deeper into the realms of small business and entrepreneurship, Canadian SME Small Business Magazine is an essential resource. Visit CanadianSME.ca to subscribe and gain access to a wealth of information. Join us again on the Canadian SME Small Business Podcast for engaging and informative episodes that will empower your entrepreneurial journey. Thank you for joining us today, and we eagerly anticipate sharing more insightful discussions and key takeaways in our upcoming episodes.